Ever stop to think about how a bar of soap actually gets its shape? Like you just grab it from the store, use it, but there's a whole process behind that. And at the center of it all is the Plodder Operator.
Yeah, you're right. It's a role that often flies under the radar, but is much more involved than people might initially think.
So today we're doing a deep dive into the world of Plodder Operators, gonna uncover the secrets of soap making and what it takes to actually have this job, all thanks to these great guides we've got from RoleCatcher, ready to lather up on some knowledge.
Let's dive right in.
So first things first, what does a Plodder Operator even do? Why is their role so important in the whole soap making shebang?
Okay, picture this. You've got all your soap ingredients all mixed up, right? But it's still kind of well, a messy blob, right? The Plodder Operator, they're the ones who take that soap mixture and they put it through this machine. It's called a plotting machine. And this machine, it compresses the soap and pushes it out in those perfect bars, those shapes we see in stores.
So they're like the architects of the soap bar. It's got to be more than just pressing a button though, right?
Oh, absolutely. A Plodder Operator's job is all about precision and quality control. They make sure each and every bar of soap is the right size, the right shape, the right weight. Guardians of consistency, that's what they are in the soap-making world.
Makes sense. But what about the actual work environment? What's it actually like being a Plodder Operator? Not exactly a day at the spa, I imagine.
Well, it is a factory setting, so think it can be noisy, potentially dusty. There's some exposure to the chemicals that you use in the process. So, safety, super important. Plodder operators need to wear all the protective gear and follow all the safety rules really carefully.
Right, wouldn't want to be breathing in soap fumes all day. Makes you think about some of the challenges someone in that role faces on a daily basis. What kind of curveballs might pop up on the job?
You know, one thing that comes to mind is the big shift in the industry towards organic natural soaps. These ingredients, they don't always behave the same way in the plotting machine as the more traditional soap ingredients.
So how does that affect the Plodder Operator?
They've got to be adaptable.
Yeah.
They might need to adjust the machine settings, maybe even tweak the entire production process, just to make sure that even with these new ingredients, the soap still comes out top-notch every single time.
Wow, I never even thought about that. Sounds like being a good problem solver is pretty key for a Plodder Operator then.
Oh, 100%. It's more than just running a machine. It's understanding all those little nuances of the ingredients, figuring out what's going wrong if something goes wrong, and coming up with solutions to keep that high standard of quality no matter what kind of soap they're making. You got to think on your feet.
You've really got to be on top of your game.
Exactly. And that actually leads us to another fascinating part of this job, the need for constant learning and development.
Constant learning. So what are we talking here? Like soap making conferences or what?
It's more like always being ready to learn new things. The
Yes.
soap industry doesn't just stay the same. New ingredients pop up, new technology, even just new trends. A good plotter operator has to be ready to adapt, learn new skills as they go.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially with stuff like automation becoming so big in manufacturing. But let's step back for a sec. Someone's listening to this thinking, okay, this is pretty interesting, but what do I actually need to get started in this kind of job?
Well, most of the time, you'll need a high school diploma at least. But honestly, more important than that is just having a good mechanical aptitude. You're going to be working with machines, so you got to have that basic understanding of how things work.
So if you like tinkering with stuff, figuring things out, that's a big plus.
Huge plus. And beyond that, attention to detail is a must. Can't stress that enough. Remember, consistency is key here. Every single bar of soap has got to meet those exact specifications, and that's on the plotter operator.
It's all about the precision. Kind of reminds me of those artisan soap makers, carefully making each bar by hand. But in this case, it's on a way bigger scale.
I like that comparison.
Oh,
And yeah, speaking of scale, a plotter operator also needs to be able to keep up in a fast-paced environment. Those production lines, they move fast. You got to be on your toes, able to fix problems quickly and efficiently.
so thinking on your feet, adapting to new situations, those are important skills.
100%. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I start as a plotter operator. What's next? What does the career path actually look like?
Right. What are the chances of moving up, getting promoted? Could you go from plotter operator to, say, a manager?
Absolutely. Starting out as a plotter operator, that could be a stepping stone to lots of different paths within a manufacturing company. With enough experience, you could become a senior operator, which usually means more responsibility, maybe even better pay.
So there is a way to climb that soap ladder, so to speak.
You got it. And it doesn't even have to be about climbing the ladder in the same role. The skills you learn as a plotter operator, like operating machinery, solving problems, quality control, those are valuable. You can take those skills to other jobs in manufacturing or even completely different fields.
Now, that's a good point for our listeners out there. It's not just about one specific job, it's about building up a set of skills that can open doors to a lot of different opportunities.
Exactly. Think about it. You could end up as an injection molding operator, maybe a coagulation operator at a water treatment plant, even a gas processing plant supervisor. Who knows?
Wow, now those are some diverse career options. Really shows how the skills from one job can translate into something totally different.
Right. It's about recognizing those transferable skills, seeing how they could fit in other industries. So even if someone starts as a plotter operator, that doesn't mean they're stuck in soap making forever.
That's a really valuable insight. Thinking outside the box, seeing the bigger picture.
Now, we've talked a lot about the technical stuff, but let's not forget about the human side of things. Making soap might seem like, a purely mechanical process, but there's a kind of artistry to it too, a craftsmanship.
That's interesting. How does artistry fit into a job that's so focused on precision, doing things the exact same way every time?
Think of it this way, a plotter operator. They're not just mindlessly shoving soap into a machine, right? They develop a kind of feel for the process. They learn how different things affect the final product. It's about taking pride in what you're making, creating the very best bar of soap you can, even in a big factory setting.
So even though you're part of a team, there's still that sense of individual pride, of ownership over your work.
Absolutely. That feeling of craftsmanship, that can be really rewarding.
It's not every day you hear someone talk about the artistry of a factory job.
Mm.
It really makes you appreciate something as simple as a bar of soap, just knowing that someone took that extra care in making it.
It's about that pride in a job well done, whatever you happen to be doing. As we wrap up this deep dive into the world of the plotter operator, let's bring it back to our listeners. What are some of the key takeaways, especially for anyone who might be thinking, hey, maybe this could be a career for me?
The million-dollar question. It's one thing to hear about a job, but it's another to actually picture yourself doing it day in and day out.
Exactly. So let's say you're someone who likes working with their hands. Maybe you're good with mechanics. You like things to be kind of structured. This could be a great fit. It's a job that can offer some real stability, decent pay, and you get to see the results of what you're doing every single day.
Plus, you're part of something bigger, You're making a product that people use all the time.
That's right. But got to be real about the downsides too, of course. It could be demanding, physically tiring, probably not the best job if you need constant change, or you're a real people person.
It's about finding that balance, right? Weighing what's good and what's not so good and deciding if it really lines up with who you are, what you want in a career.
Absolutely. And hey, even if you started the plotter operator, it doesn't mean you're stuck there. Like we talked about, those transferable skills, they can open up opportunities in manufacturing or even other fields entirely.
It's like they say, it's the journey, not the destination. Start in one spot, end up somewhere completely unexpected.
Exactly. Who knows? Maybe this deep dive today got someone thinking about a career path they never even knew existed. Soap making might seem kind of, ordinary at first glance. But as we've seen, there's a lot more to it than you'd think.
It's been eye-opening, that's for sure. Hopefully our listeners out there have a little new perspective on the everyday things around them and the people who make those things. Sometimes the most unexpected things lead to the most fulfilling jobs.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Keep exploring, keep learning. Who knows what other interesting deep dives await?
And maybe next time you pick up a bar of soap, you'll think about the Plodder Operator who helped make that happen.
A good reminder that things aren't always what they seem.
And that's a wrap on another deep dive.